भगवान श्री योगी राम सूरत कुमार की जय। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। राम 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 राम, राम 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 राम, राम 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 राम, राम 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 राम, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। राम 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 राम, राम 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 राम, राम 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 राम, राम 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 राम, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। राम 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 राम, 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 योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, जय गुरु राया। राम 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 राम, 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 ராம ராம் ராம 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 ராம் யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் ஜெய குரு ராயா யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் ஜெய குரு ராயா ராம 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 ராம் 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 யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் ஜெய குரு ராயா யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் ஜெய குரு ராயா ராம 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 ராம் 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 யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் யோகிராம் சுரத்குமார் ஜெய குரு ராயா Rama 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 Yoginath Surat Kumar Yoginath Surat Kumar Yoginath Surat Rama 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 Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Rama 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 Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Ram Surat Kumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Rama 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 Bhagavan Shri Yogi Ram Surat Kumar ki Sarvam Yogi Ram Surat Kumararpanamastu. It's a great, great fortune and blessing that we have all been able to gather here in his powerful shrine on this holy, auspicious day of Swami Vivekananda's Jayanti. What a day! What Jayanti! For someone who is ever living, it is every day Jayanti day. And every day is meant for celebration of his presence. With deep gratitude, in celebration of this grace, we have offered the Nama lotuses at the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Now a word about Swami Vivekananda, the great spirit of inspiration and grace that's going on, gathering more and more momentum as days pass on. When we remember Swami Vivekananda, the three words that come to our mind immediately is rise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. Now, this is not just waking up people from sleep. We all have gone to sleep inside. The divine, the Chaitanya, the Antaryami inside all of us is mostly asleep to the world. And so, in spite of our carrying the divine inside us and the whole cosmos within it, We are not even aware of His presence inside. We move and have our being in the idea that I am the body. Now, Swami Vivekananda is living on. I remember how great people, born great, were further inspired by Swami Vivekananda. Papa Ramdas was influenced by Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Swami Vivekananda. And Sri Aurobindo, in 1908 or 1909, when he was thrown into Alipur jail, for 2 weeks, Swami Vivekananda's spirit appeared and taught him how the higher consciousness works. When he mentioned it to one of his attendants, I think it's Anil Bharan or Nirod Bharan, they asked him if it was a vision for 2 weeks, 15 days, that Vivekananda should appear day after day after day in the jail and taught him the intricacies of the work of grace, the work of the divine, the work of the higher consciousness. Sri Aurobindo said, if it was only a vision, I would not have believed it. He truly appeared before me and taught me. And this super consciousness, the higher consciousness of the mind, is what I named later on supermind. How Swami Vivekananda planted the seed for the tapas of Sri Aurobindo. Mahatma Gandhiji said, had I only met him in person, I would have just fallen at his feet and not moved. Subramanya Bharati, the great poet and a Mahatma, took Sister Nivedita as his guru. And of course he drew many of his ideas from Swami Vivekananda. Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar Bhagwan, he told me once, and later, quite a few times, that one day, even though he was in search of God inside, and he used to do regular meditation on the banks of the Balan River, he was still working as a teacher and was meeting Kapadia Baba now and then. And when he was returning from Kapadia Baba's ashram one day, suddenly he heard a voice, like an oracle. It said, "This is Swami Vivekananda calling you. What you are now doing is not your work." It was very distinct, clear and loud, and yet unused to such oracles. Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar looked around and saw no one, and then he thought he had imagined it. In the process of meditation, when we reach the depths, often we would hear voices of great Mahatmas with some instruction or the other. So he just left it off and went ahead with his routine. Another day, very soon, again he heard the same distinct, clear, divine voice of Swami Vivekananda saying, "This is Vivekananda calling you. Whatever you are doing now is not your work. This is arise, awake, stop not until the goal is reached. This is what Swami Vivekananda has been doing and will continue to do so for generation after generation. He lives on. So for such a soul, it is Jayanti every day. It is celebration of the spirit that is Swami Vivekananda, the work, the service that he continues to do for the entire mankind. When he went to the Parliament of Religions, before he came on the stage, how much he had to suffer. These great people are embodiments of sacrifice. He starved for a few days, and it was very cold, and he had lost some of the papers that he carried. He was in deep difficulty. See, God does not spare even such great people, even if they are on a great mission. When such things happen to people like Vivekananda, what are we? But uncomplainingly, Vivekananda just went through it, and then this lady found him and kept him in the house, but yet, as the story goes, she kept telling people that she has a very strange man in her house, and she was inviting people to come and see him and collected money. But Swami Vivekananda quietly put up with all those humiliations. And then when he went on the stage, everybody knows he was feeling very nervous. He never spoke before such a huge assembly of scholars. There were 7,000 people. And twice his turn came, and he said, no, I'll talk later. At the end, when his turn, the third turn came, the third time came, he could no more refuse. And he prayed to Saraswati Devi and started those famous words, my dear brothers and sisters of America. And the next second, all those 7,000 people stood up, were standing ovation, clapping of hands in appreciation of his words. Until then, people addressed only ladies and gentlemen. And here was someone who called them brothers and sisters of America. And how much it must have come from the depths of his heart that there was an immediate response from the audience. 7,000 people just stood up and clapped in appreciation of the spirit with which he spoke. The words must have gone into them, into the recesses of their being. They were instantly touched by the truth of what he declared. Such is the glory of the spirit of Swami Vivekananda. When he said something, it was the truth. And it found its target and drew the right response. I remember a story I heard when he was only in the third class, a small boy probably of 8 years, that the teacher of the class was asking every boy what his ideal was and what he would like to become in future. Of course, everybody said, I want to be a doctor, an engineer, this and that. But here Vivekananda, this Noreen, stood up and said, I want to be a horse cart driver. What a strange thing to say. Everybody laughed. And the teacher was totally unimpressed by the reply. He said, "Sit down. What a thing to say. You have no great goal in life." Imagine somebody addressing Swami Vivekananda and saying such things. And that evening, when the mother came to take the boy, the teacher said, "Look at this little fellow." When I asked him what he would like to become, all that he could say was that the driver of a horse cart. The mother accepted it without saying anything. She took him home, fed him well, and then dragged him to the puja room. And there she pointed to one particular painting and said, "My dear boy, you see, here is also a driver, a charioteer driving the horses. You see there is a smile there. He is divine Lord Krishna. He is Partha Sarathi. He is a Sarathi. Now you too want to become a Sarathi. Now would you become someone like Lord Krishna? If you want to become a Sarathi, you must be like Lord Krishna." And the little boy was wonderstruck. And he's promised his mother that he would be so. He would become so. And of course, true to this, you see how his mother said he did not only the role of Sarathi, he gave Bhagavad Gita. Now, Bhagavad Gita means the song of God. Now, Swami Vivekananda has been singing his Bhagavad Gita the past 100 years and more. Arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. It is he who declared from Kanyakumari rock that renunciation and service must be the twin ideals of the monks of Ramakrishna Math. After he returned from the States, from his foreign travels, his mother had prayed that he should return in good health and safely, and that she made a prayer, she made a prarthana that after Noreen comes back, he will do Anga Pradakshina in the Kali temple. So when Swami Vivekananda returned, now he became well known to everybody in the world. He was a very famous monk. His mother said, "Noreen, I have made this prayer. You will have to carry it out." Immediately, Swami Vivekananda went to the Kali temple and he rolled on the floor in Pradakshina around Ma Kali. The reporters asked him, "You are a famous monk now. You are a world figure. And you are doing Anga Pradakshina in a temple. You spoke Vedanta there. After all your clarion call, this is what you do. And just because your mother, an uneducated lady, said this," he said, "She is my mother. She is my first guru." You remember the third class how his mother told him that if he should become Sarathi, he should be like Lord Krishna. She is my first guru and she is my mother. I would do anything to fulfill whatever my parents say. Now, this is a message for the modern youth who don't care for their parents the way they should. They develop independent ideas, borrowed ideas from the book and from the West, and behave any way they like. Now, Swami Vivekananda, as we see, we cannot say how many more clarion calls would come from Swami Vivekananda and how many great souls would change their direction to service to the mankind. Again and again, we see in the lives of people, he's so alive and he never misses his chance to inspire the right people into service. He said 3 words, he spoke 3 words for the modern youth. He said purity, patience, and perseverance. The modern youth must remember these great words that came from a great soul. Of course, purity of purpose, and patience in achieving it. And of course, without perseverance, you cannot achieve anything. These are the 3 ideals that the youth have to follow. And Swami Vivekananda, when he came to Chennai beach, he gave a talk and he said, give me 100 youths, I would change the world. Such is the spirit. Muscles of iron and nerves of steel. But then the pathetic state of what we observe today, the youths going after money, forgetting the spiritual culture of India, the greatness that it has always stood for, despite all that it had to go through in history. Now, we have to remember the spirit of Swami Vivekananda. We have to remember he never died. He never would. His clarion call should stay with us. And the ideals of sacrifice and service, the surest way to God. He said, when you pray, you have to go to God. But when you do seva, when you do service, selfless service, God would come to you. Now, when we were in Sudama with Bhagwan, Shira Ganapati had sent a book, Swami Vivekananda, in Tamil. And Bhagwan asked me to read it out to him. He would listen to our reading with such rapt attention. Every word. Suppose I missed out one word, he would not allow me to go on. He would say, Devki, just see, is there another word? And he always knew when I came to the end of the chapter, he would say, Podum, enough. It was never in the middle of a chapter. And when I opened this book of Swami Vivekananda and started to read, I felt a strange sensation all over my body. It became vibrant with a strange energy. I felt it tangibly. I said, Bhagwan, what is happening? Page after page after page. I seem to receive something, some high energy from this. Bhagwan laughed and said, Devki, that is Swami Vivekananda entering you. This would happen to everyone who reads about Swami Vivekananda, because Swami Vivekananda is present in every description of his life, in every word that he uttered. And I came to a certain episode in the book. Sister Nivedita, Swami Vivekananda's disciple from England, and Swami Vivekananda held her in a special position. But then the time came that he attained Mahasamadhi and his body was being burnt. The final funeral rites. Imagine the state of Sister Nivedita. She stood there with agitation and prayer. Swami, you have left me like this. What shall I do? And suddenly, from the tongues of flame came a piece of ochre cloth flying, came straight to her, fell on her. What a blessing! And she knew that Swami Vivekananda would be with her all the time. When I read this, naturally, I was carried away and I was reacting to that, and suddenly Swami stood up and he removed a shawl which he had been using for quite some time then. And the turban, he put the shawl on me and tied the turban and said, you keep it with you. And that was a Guru Purnima day, the morning hours. So, all this is to say that Swami Vivekananda is vibrantly alive with his clarion call to the youth of today, and it would continue from generation to generation with more and more momentum. And for such a great one, it is Jayanti every day. Remembering Swami Vivekananda is celebrating his Jayanti. We shall now offer our today's prayer at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. Bhagwan, we beg you again and again, for that's all we can do, and we do it a million times, for your immediate divine intervention to bring forth a dharmic normalcy to today's world in all aspects of life. So much violence is going on and growing enmity between people and country and country. And the war is already on. And the diseases, the vicious diseases, killer diseases, sudden attacks of them, and the furies of nature. You are the cosmic controller. We beg you to bring forth unity, peace, and growing friendship and brotherhood, discipline, order, harmony, and a good control over these diseases and the violence of nature. Only you can do it, and we beg you again and again to do the needful. We also beg you to uproot all the negativities of the human mind that are responsible for today's world as it is. We also beg you to reach out to those people who have been stranded in varied parts of the world for some reason or the other, due to some past karma. They belong to different countries, they may speak different languages, and they may be of different religions. We beg you to reach out to them and give them help and protection. We also beg you to protect all those unselfish people in service, in selfless service, for the sake of the others, from unhealthy reproaches, blocks put forth by miscreants. Protect them from aspersion. We beg you, Bhagavan, to give a boost to the economy of the country and to promote the growth in varied fields of activity, from science and technology to culture and spirituality, that India should reach that high status of the world teacher as predicted by the great Mahatmas like Sri Aurobindo, Ram Tirth, and of course, Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar, to conduct the whole world in the path of Dharma. We also beg you in all sincerity and earnestness and intensity for ceaseless chanting of your powerful name and unbroken remembrance of your teachings and leelas, that we assimilate and make it into Atma Shakti. Bhagavan, please bless us to be sattvic instruments in your hands. We don't want to be Rakshasas. We don't want to be Duryodhanas or Ravanas. And please bless us to run our everyday life as an offering to you and not be caught by the snares of Maya. Once you fall into the pit of Maya, beware. We have no idea how long it will take, years or sometimes births, to come out of it. We also seek that ultimate goal of life, the ultimate peace and bliss. But then we need to be purified. Didn't Vivekananda say purity? Purity of purpose, sincerity, perseverance, and patience. We have now kama, krodha, passion, anger, fear, killer anger, jealousy, and growing desires for worldly possessions. Such dirt has to be removed from the minds of people so that they could offer themselves in the fire of selfless service to mankind, as Swami Vivekananda expects from us. We take refuge in your powerful Nama and joyful chanting of it, so that it becomes our Atma Shakti. We also take refuge in joyful service. No matter what work falls into our hand, no matter where we live, from North Pole to South Pole, wherever we live, whatever work falls into our hand, we should be able to do it with joy, and that in the spirit of service to God. Service to mankind is service to God. This is what Swami Vivekananda declared. And that without any unhealthy competition or jealousy. That it becomes our Atma Shakti, our Manobalam, Atma Balam. And Bhagavan blesses us to practice acceptance of whatever life brings to us, be it a joy or sorrow, coming from the source, coming from you. It can only be a great blessing, and it's meant for our spiritual growth and closer kinship with you. As we progress, we would be able to detect that living, vibrant, pulsating presence of God everywhere and in everything. Bhagavan, please bless us, enable us to see your sankalpa, your will behind all the happenings of life. And more importantly, that hidden grace, even in the most disastrous experiences of life. When there is some bad karma playing up, all of a sudden, we are attacked by a misfortune. Everything begins to misfire, everything begins to go wrong in life, and we collapse. We resent God, saying He has let us down, and we begin to blame everyone else for our own failures, little realizing that we invited it ourselves by our past karmas. But then Bhagavan, thou art love embodiment. You are generous, and you will not let us move away from you and convert all our adversities into great blessings. Please bless us to be grateful to you always. We also seek your blessings for all the species of the cosmos, in whatever state of misery they are, to be lifted to a higher plane. And finally, we who have always been seeking solutions to our endless problems of life, seek now the solution of that which is the basic evil, the idea that I am the body, the I and mine of the ego self, so that we be free from the vicious cycle of births and deaths, that we be blessed with that immortal life, that eternal living and eternal servitude to you, that eternal supreme divinity. Jai Yogi Ram Saraswati.